I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love. I put my trust in you, and I trust in our love. I put my trust in you, I put my trust in love.
Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
I'm Niall Spain, and we're your fuck buddies. Welcome back.
We are a dating and sex advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either online or from our wonderful listeners such as yourself, and we answer them.
On the topics of sex and dating.
Well, you already said we're a sex and dating advice podcast, so I figured that was clear.
I just always wait for it.
I like to shake it up, you know.
I like to do things. Let me smang it, girl. Let me smash and bang it. Let me smang it, girl.
Oh, this is our musical episode, so...
this is our musical episode.
Welcome.
We're going to do what Riverdale does, and just every now and then just be like, Tumbler likes it when we sing, right? All right, cool. We're just going to do
Tumblr
a singing
still
episode
exist?
for no reason. I mean, did I age myself? It's just TikTok now?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, Tumblr loves us. They, like, I've kind of lost the amount of things they love us for. They love when we start the episode slow. They like when they can hear the cat, but come on, who doesn't? Love my awful jokes. God, they just can't get enough of them.
Can't get enough. Can't get enough of those little boys.
Yeah. They hate when I said I'm Niall Spine. They didn't like that at all. That was a no-go. It was a no-go.
Yeah, we did get canceled for a while for your spine-related jokes.
Yeah, which, to be fair, I didn't even fucking intend. So thanks, Tumblr. The spine of you guys for that. Whoa! All right, come on. You want me to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
This is by user deleted. How to prevent having an obvious boner when we get close together while flirting?
This already sounds like it's been written by an alien. But please go on.
That's it.
That's the question.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't have any details.
That's it.
Okay, cool. So can you give it to me one more time? Just
how to prevent having an obvious boner when we get close together while flirting.
Like, I need to know what you consider flirting, my man. Like, are you touching? Are you literally just, like, talking to each other and you're just fucking, like, how old are you? Because that also has a bearing. I think if you're a 14-year-old boy with raging hormones coursing through your veins and everything gives you an erection, then, okay, I understand that. But if you're, like, a 40-year-old man who can't talk to a woman without becoming erect, that also seems to be a problem.
Also, like, if you're...
I'm going to open the door for you.
Well, no, this is how it works. I say it, you go first. But I will add to what you were saying. There are definitely situations where it's like, if you're on a date and you're, like, arm around each other and you're, you know, in a bar and you've had a few drinks and you're, like, flirting, it's kind of okay if you have a boner. If you're of age and you're at an appropriate, like, time and whatever. Like, I imagine in a lot of situations, it doesn't really matter if they notice that you have a boner. In some situations, such as when you're a kid, it's always going to be mortifying, so be aware of that. 2, if you just started talking to someone, that's super intimidating to be like, look at my boner. And, like, 3, if it becomes an issue for other people around you who aren't involved, I also think that's weird, you know? Like, how obvious is this boner? I think, like, are you at the beach? That's always a fear.
Are there children nearby?
Are there children? Are you flirting next to a playground? Because, dude, doesn't matter how much you guys know each other. You got to strap that boy down.
I'm going to wager that this is a younger man. I'm going to hope that you are in the high school sphere where, you know, trying to contain your erections is as futile as trying to count every grain of sand on a beach. Like, it's just not going to happen. You have no control over it. Your dick has a mind of its own, and it will get hard for whatever goddamn reason it wants. That's just what being a teenage boy is. Some things you can do is make sure you don't wear sweatpants. Because let me tell you, that'll be a fucking...
I was going to go straight to that. Sweatpants are... They don't even just show your boner. They display your boner. They accentuate your boner. Like, your boner would probably be less obvious if you weren't wearing anything.
Yes, sorry, I had to silence my phone.
The fuck is that, Dane? The fuck is that?
Yeah,
I made
it's
a
like
funny
you
joke,
might as well...
and you start clicking away on your phone.
Sorry, I'm silencing it so it doesn't ruin the thing.
But ironically, you ruined it anyway.
But Tinder loves it. Or not Tinder, Tumblr.
Yeah, well, you know what
Tin-
they won't
Tinder
love?
loves
My
us.
wilting boner right now. It's wilting, and you can see it because I'm wearing sweatpants.
Well, there you go. Just have someone constantly negging you while you're
Hmm.
flirting someone. Are you not
Yeah,
into degradation play? Then have someone just like, are you like me and hate having people touch your nipples? Just have your best friend hiding his hands under your shirt, and every time he notices a little stiffness in the pants region, he just gives your nipples a little tweak. Now,
yeah,
this won't
100%.
work if you're really into nipple play. This will make it much
Hmm.
worse for you.
Yeah, you gotta. So, clothing, I think, is very essential, right? We all learn the little adjustments and tricks of the trade as to where to put your boner so it's not obvious as you grow up, because
Yeah,
they're gonna
glasses
happen
of
in
milk.
times and places. Put them right in there. You know, freeze the milk. Then it's like, what's boner, what's ice, what's milk? No one knows.
Yeah, you got to invest in some pants that one aren't skin tight so that your dick shape isn't always visible, but
Hmm.
two have enough rigidity to them, rigidness.
Rigidity,
I'm
yeah,
not sure.
sure.
Rigidity. I don't know.
Rigidity is a social construct.
And it's that will give your dick space to grow, but won't let it really sort of be like, hey, yo, look at
Flourish.
me.
Yeah, it'll like
S
tie it down a little bit.
Maybe get really into yoga so that when you start feeling it, just hit like a cool warrior pose, the one where you like cross your leg. You know what I mean? So you've got something to cover over it. Maybe always have a very cool like really long hanging messenger bag that you can just kind of casually slide
Hmm.
across the old
Well,
dickaroo.
that's the thing. It's like if you have a t-shirt or a jumper, it'll probably go down low enough that it'll like obscure it somewhat. Again, unless you're wearing like those gray boner amplifying sweatpants. You know, if you're at the beach, wear a second pair underneath. There you go.
Do you have a mortifying boner story from high school?
No, not really. Oh, so I lit like I it never really like came to pass that it was terrifying, but in the moment it was like just the fear because we were waiting to get into science class. So I was just like sitting in this like carpeted hallway, just like waiting, and we had this super cute like Japanese exchange student. And whatever happened, she was talking about how she used to do ballet, and she was like, "Oh, I used to get this like massage done," and I don't know what happened, but she was like, "I'll show you." So she was like, "Put your leg out." So like I'm lying on the ground or sitting on the ground, stretched out my leg, and I'm wearing like school pants. I don't know if you guys had like school fucking uniforms over here, but like,
Nah, I mean they exist, yes, for sure. My old
mhm,
high school actually like recently switched over to
yeah.
uniforms, but
So
yes.
like the weird like school uniform slacks are also very like boner amplifying, like hugely, which is not great
Mhm.
as a young boy. I was probably like 15 or something at this point. I don't know. And so she starts like giving me this massage from like knee to like upper inner thigh, like very upper inner thigh. And the one good thing is that like it was an agonizing, like it really hurt. So like while she's doing, she's like, "Oh yeah, it's meant to like rip the bone, rip the muscle off the bone, and like help you be more like flexible or whatever." But that did nothing to me as a young man. So like, thank God my dick was going the other way, or it would have literally poked her, or she would have come across it, maybe mangled it because it was a pretty sore massage. And I was just like, there's nothing I can do. There's nowhere to like hide. And like the only kind of benefit was that like I had my left leg kind of like up, and it's like it just kind of like squirreled away in the folds of my trousers. And I was like, this is the nightmare. You're trapped. But no one really called me on it. It wasn't that thing. I just panicked internally the entire time.
Yeah,
Oh,
100%.
like you got a spicy boner story?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there was a time I was going to my high school girlfriend's house. Like every weekend, we would like every Saturday night, I would go over to her place because she had like a finished basement that we would watch a movie in and like make out and kind of like do
Mhm.
teen things. A lot of over the
The
clothes
finishing
rubbing.
basement.
Um, and I got along very well with her parents. Like when I would come in, I would usually have like a pretty decent like
When
twenty
you
minute chat
come
with her.
in.
Yes. I would talk with the parents and blah blah blah, and we got along well. So there was a night where we were like fooling around, and it was getting like pretty hot and heavy considering where we were and how open the basement was. Like all the parents had to do was walk past the stairs, and they would be able to see what we were up to, but her dad was like, had like someone just dropped something off but wasn't able to help him in with it. It was like a big old fucking table saw or some shit. And he was just like, oh hey Dane, come give me a hand bringing this table saw in. And we were just like and I just had this, just raging teenage boner.
The best thing about boners, for those that haven't had one, is the more you think about them, the less they go away. Which means when you want them to be gone, they're like, "Oh, you want to stick around? You want me? I'll just hang around a little bit more." And you're like, "No, the terror, the awkwardness, everything. Why are you here?" It's like you're thinking about me. I'm like a magic spirit that like you're giving me power by acknowledging my presence. They will not go away if you're thinking of them.
So I remember being like, I stood up and I was like, "Is it obvious?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's fucking obvious." And then she tried to like push it down, and I was like, "Don't touch it," like, because we hadn't done like any actual like hand on dick stuff. So that was the first time she had actually like touched my dick. But it was like her sort of like stroking my dick, trying to like push it down. I was like, "Hey, can you fucking not do that when I'm about to go hang out with your dad?"
Yeah.
Thankfully, I was like a scene kid, and it was the early 2000s, so I had a very large sweater that was just long enough to sort of to cover the situation, and he was already carrying the thing, so I was able to like get in front,
it right over, and then it's like it actually probably worked as a support too to help you. So in the end, the dad thought you were a little stronger than you were.
I could have carried that thing by myself, let me tell you. I was pretty much a one-man trolley. You could have just put it out there and wheeled me off. So it was very nerve-wracking where I was like, oh no.
Yeah, I've had
my girlfriend's dad is going to have to look just dead-eye stare at my dick.
I've had a lot of like, just, close encounters of the boner kind. But I got away. I was like a boner ninja, like, and that's the thing is like you learn to like, to work it in the space that you have, you know how to do the old pocket shuffle if you got jeans and they're going, down the leg more than like, you can like move them around a bit and like, make your jumper go down a little bit. Like hoodies, again, I was a little rocker kid, so I had those big hoodies with like, that one big pocket in the middle. Put your hands in there and the pocket goes down and no one sees your boner,
Maybe always try to flirt with them when you're sitting. It's way easier to hide.
There you go. Yeah, if there's a table, put a pillow in your lap and lean on it. I know a lot of people used to do that. The pillow trick. Made it very obvious in a way, but
yeah. The pillow move was instrumental to like the high school teenage parties.
100%. I think pillows were
every dude was rushing to the love seats to get a grab of one of them pillows.
Yeah. So again, this all matters. It could be anywhere, right? If you're a kid, listen to kind of what we've said. If you're an adult, if you're talking to someone, if you're flirting, like if you've kind of reached a point, it's like they're not going to be weirded out that you're the boner. You know what I mean? Because there's also like when you're a kid, there's that shame of. I remember the first time I fucking made out with someone, and it was at a fucking water park. And we'd gotten into like changing rooms. So we were like in a secluded like area. We were making out. She's in a bikini. I had just changed into my jeans because I was leaving. And I remember being so thankful that I didn't have my swim shorts on because it just would have, again, been the most obvious thing in the world. But it's like, I was making out with this girl. I don't think she would have fucking cared if I had a boner. But like the shame and fear, because I was like, oh, she can't know, which is insane. So it's like, I'm worried that this question comes from that level of like still ashamed of your boner and not because I'm hoping it happens at a point where it's reasonable. So it's like if you're flirting with someone and you're like on a date or whatever, there are certain times where like having a boner is okay and feeling that shame is bad, or like you can work through it and be all right. But I'm worried without context to say this and have this person just proudly walk up to people rock hard and harass them.
Like that scene from Anchorman.
Yeah, exactly. That's, just tipping stuff over. So, yeah, I think we've kind of like, cluster shotted a lot of advice out. It's probably enough. I'm going to say something real quick. It does say prevent, but then it also says obvious. So, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, I don't think you can prevent your boner. You can prevent it by being obvious. Just don't wear sweats. That's the number one.
Yeah, absolutely. If you're wearing sweatpants, you need to stop immediately. Any sort of loose fabric, tearaway pants, workout pants, anything like that, no. Get them out of here.
Sweat shorts, no.
I remember there was a time in drama class, one of the guys was wearing those like Adidas tearaway pants, and we were doing scenes from Romeo and Juliet, like the final like with
the
this
most
kiss I
arousing
die.
play.
I mean, when you're pretending to kiss cute girls in drama class,
No, I
it's
know.
enough
I
for
know.
any teenage boy. And like like the boy, the man fucking made a tent in his pants, and like he was lying down because he had just killed himself, and she did the like with this kiss I die, or like on the lips, you
Yeah.
know, when she kisses the poison off him, and just fuck, man,
The
R.I.P.
rigor was very mortis.
Yeah. This comes from Reddit user Sumferatu. Did I, 18-year-old male, go too fast? My parents have given me a little bit more privacy this year. My bedroom is connected to my brother's, so I'm not allowed to have girls in my room, but they're still pretty cool about us being in the basement. On Saturday night, we were watching movies down there. She ended up halfway lying on me, like I was sitting upright and her head was on my shoulder. My hands were just in my lap. Then she moved and put my arm around her lower back. I was kind of just rubbing her back and decided to go for it and rest my hand on her ass. She seemed down, and I was literally just moving my hand up and down. Again, still cool with that. Came kind of close to her vagina, but just from the back, but didn't actually touch it. No big deal. The minute I put my hand on her ass under her tights, she freaked out and got up. I don't get it, and she kind of cut and run from the whole thing immediately. Like, just sitting next to me with her arms folded and not wanting to talk about it at all. She didn't respond to any of my texts after that. Then I saw her this morning, tried to talk to her about it, and she kind of brushed it off, and asked if I wanted to hang out again on Saturday. I said yeah, but now I don't know because I'm so confused about what I did wrong.
Man, I wish we had more context because, like, are they dating? Have they kissed yet? It seems like, from what we've gotten, it seems like a weird move to go, like, you know, hand on ass over clothes is like a flirty step, which presumably would then lead to a kiss. Like that's pretty much like the fucking seduction is like Kino or whatever, where it's like, is that it? I don't know. I don't really know their terms. So it's like you've kind of gotten like it's a good sign that you're touching them and touching them somewhere like, you know, risque. So that's probably like a green enough light to like progress to the next step, which isn't to just try to fucking touch their vagina. You know what I mean?
I don't think that was like even his, because he was saying he had his hand on her ass and then almost touch her vagina while having his hand over her clothes, like from behind, and then
yeah, and then
he put his hand down
under
her
the
pants,
skirt,
leggings, but yes, onto her ass. So I don't know if he's still trying to, but what you're saying is correct. I think the act from going over clothes to, you know, under her clothes or down her pants is a pretty jarring escalation.
Yes. Especially if, like, he seems to think it's a very big deal to have had his hand on her ass at all, which means he's new to things. She's probably new enough, and they're also new to each other. But they never mention, like, kissing or making out or anything like that. So it's like, yeah, dude, you skipped from, like, step 2 to step, like, I don't know, 6, 7, 8, like, depending. Like, you don't just, like, she was probably, like...
right now, Niall.
Okay, step 1, basement movie. Step 2, touching somewhere risque above the clothes. Step 3, kissing. Step 4, kissing while on each other's laps. Step 5, touching the titties but above the clothes. Step 6, fingering them from behind like he's trying.
Okay. Just double checking. Just
yeah. No, I definitely don't want to, like, say there's steps, because, like, there isn't rules for this shit. But at the same time, there kind of are, and rule 1 is, like, you don't just finger someone before you kiss them kind of deal. So it's like, yes, I will say, you have gone too fast. You know, you got excited about what you're doing, but it's like, you'd kind of reached the threshold for where you were at, and it's like, the next step was probably, like, kissing. Again, unless this happened, he just didn't mention it, but it feels like someone so excited about touching a butt over clothes would probably have mentioned if they start fucking making out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
you know,
it's the funny thing is he seems to have clocked that and then tried to talk about it and wasn't able to, which I think you need to, if you want to pursue this person as someone that you're going to potentially sleep with or do whatever with, you need to really sit them down and be like, hey, I understand that I might have crossed the line last time we hung out, but I would like to talk about it and make sure that we're on the same page about how to, you know, talk about consent and how to talk about, like, when you're not comfortable to let me know. And I will, like, here on out, be sure to check in with you about these things so that I don't do it again. And I think you really need to, like, drive that home early on, because one, if this is sort of like your guys' first sexual experience, it one sets the tone for how you want to conduct yourself in a relationship, and two, will hopefully set the standards for how she expects to be treated as well. Because someone who shuts down like this might have been with people who were very pushy in the past. And if she finally gets a partner who's willing to talk about consent and who's willing to listen to her concerns and is actively trying to open that conversation, that might be, a gold standard in which she now considers like the bare minimum. So even if you guys don't work out in the long run, even if you guys just fool around a little bit in high school or college or wherever you are right now, this might be a great experience for both of you to understand how to like move forward in sexual relationships.
Do we get their ages?
They're 18.
Okay, cool. I was like, man, I want this to happen, but I don't think 13, 14-year-olds are going to have that conversation, which again is something we hopefully will change through this podcast and through all you wonderful people just pumping positivity out into the world.
I feel like 14 and 13-year-olds would. I feel like young people now have a far more literate or like sexually literate than we ever were, because they have they have shows like Big Mouth and they have shows like Sex Education where even if they're state funded, sexual education is failing them in a lot of the world, and Canada and the US included, there's resources available to them that sure as fuck wasn't available to me. Like, I always understood consent, but I couldn't put a word to it.
It was more of like a general decency thing, which sadly not a lot of people have, as opposed to like a firm like concept and term. And like, I think being able to see it in like positive role models in a very non-didactic way, such as like Sex Education, Big Mouth, etc., would have been wonderful for all of us growing up. And to be fair, like our Tumblr following, they're all quite young, so I assume they're all very sexually literate as well.
The kids love Tumblr.
The kids are all right, and I think in a large part because of our famous Tumblr.
If you can find it, we're not on Tumblr. We're actually on Tumblr 2, which is the new TikTok. It's 3-second videos with just audio.
Tumblr 2, TikToker. Tumblr 3, TikTokist, coming soon.
TikTok too furious.
TikTok too furious. But yeah, you're 18. And it's like, look, I get it. You're excited about what you did and you want to go further. But it's like you were kind of disrespectful by like jumping too soon. And it's like that person probably felt like you didn't give a fuck about them, but you did give a fuck about their vagina or like their butt or whatever. Like their physical assets without like putting in any work or communication or like consideration. You know what I mean? It's like you jumped too soon for sure. So talk to them. If they want to hang out, it means you haven't burned a bridge yet. But like, you're old enough by a long margin to be like, hey, I'm sorry, I feel like I made you uncomfortable last time. Do you want to talk about it? And if she just says, oh, yeah, you like pushed the boundary. And if she's like too shy or it, and you could be like, I just felt like I pushed the boundary and I just like, I don't want to do that. I like you. I'm really attracted to you and like, blah, blah, blah. She's not going to be upset about that. And if she is, then great, find somebody else.
I mean, that might also be something where it's like, this could be a warning sign for you that perhaps pursuing a sexual relationship with someone who refuses to talk about their comfort levels, refuses to talk about like how they want to express consent with you, that sounds like a nightmare. And that sounds like a really problematic and toxic situation to be entering into, especially if you seem to be actually willing to discuss these things. If someone is just going to put you in the guess zone in which they refuse to sort of express how they're feeling and you just have to guess all the time, including on things like consent, might not be worth the trouble.
Yeah. So if you have this conversation and they like aren't willing to engage, that might well be a sign that you shouldn't continue this relationship. But you should have this talk and try to like, there's no real rules, but like at the same time, things do progress in a certain way, and it's like you're not going to fuck someone before you kiss them, presumably, especially when you're this young, right? And especially if you like care about them in a way that's more than just sex. So don't jump hurdles that aren't even there yet, Don't take shortcuts. Respect people. All right. Also, throw on Stardust.
It's your turn.
It is. This is a question I really like because I feel like it was written by Johnny Lawrence from Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
This is by Banished from All. Why are guys seen as cool or more masculine or even attractive when they're not swayed by lust / a woman's beauty? Sorry if this is not the right place. Guys are usually seen as cooler and respected and envied by other guys, and they have lots of sex with women, especially beautiful women. However, I've noticed how guys are also seen as cool when they show they're unimpressed by a beautiful woman and their feminine wiles. For example, there's an animated show called Fillmore, and in the comments, a lot of people are idolizing this guy and saying he ain't no simp. Then there's a news story on YouTube where an adult woman texted the underage boy she wanted to have sex with him. The boy replied with, "I don't care," and he fell asleep after. A lot of the commenters were praising the boy and saying he ain't going to be no simp when he grows up, and laughing about the boy's response to the woman. There are just a few examples, and I've also seen situations like this in real life as well. What happened to guys banging hot chicks and being glorified for it?
Okay, yeah, that's definitely
It's
some
almost,
Johnny Lawrence energy.
it feels like some kind of like weird like alternate way to promote the show, or they have fake accounts of all them, but I don't think it's true. I would love to know if this is like a freshly divorced like 50-year-old man.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused as to like what really the question is like why don't we idolize the like womanizer anymore, as opposed to like why are we worshiping people who aren't throwing themselves at women? Is that like the
I feel like he seems to, or he's saying that people are still respected and cooler if they have sex with women. I guess he's confused that people are also seen as cool if they're unimpressed by women. I think for him, the idea of being a simp is confusing.
Right. And like we've already talked about how simp is a terrible word, especially if you use it to refer to someone that is currently lusting after you, because simp stands for, what is it again? Like idolizing mediocre pussy? Sucker idolizing mediocre pussy. Which, if you're a woman and you call a man who's lusting after you a simp, you're referring to your pussy as mediocre.
Now, like, of course, I agree. But on the other hand, I feel like it's just taken, like, it's such a term these days. You know what I mean? That, like, I don't even think most people know what it ever stood for.
No,
it's used
I don't think
everywhere. And the meaning itself is usually nothing to do with the woman and all to do with the man.
Yeah, it was quickly co-opted from guys trying, like, you know, the seduction bros trying to belittle men who actually put in effort to... And it's quickly co-opted by people making fun of people who like tried really hard, which were ironically usually the seduction boys.
Yeah, because that's the thing. It's like I've seen, obviously the term itself problematic, but like I've seen a lot of people simping, and it ain't great. The question here is like, what is that like? Where's that line? Maybe where's the delineation between being this proactive fucking whatever, or just being like a simp?
I mean, I think it comes down to like self-confidence, right? It comes down to knowing your worth, and when you're actively pursuing someone who might have mutual interest with you, as opposed to pursuing someone who's repeatedly shown you nothing but disrespect or no interest or hasn't reciprocated any of the energy that you've been putting in. I think that's where it comes down to. If you're constantly chasing after someone and every time you ask them out they're like, no, maybe next week, it's like eventually at some point in time you're going to have to be like, okay, I've put in the effort. If they want to hang out, if they actually want to hang out, they'll message me, and if they don't, then I'm not wasting any more energy on this. And I think that's kind of like the, because like I respect people who aren't going to chase someone forever. I feel bad for the people who think that constantly commenting on people's Instagram posts is going to eventually, they're going to look and be like, oh wow, he left 3 heart emojis, I'm going to DM him and see if he wants to fuck. It's not going to happen.
And even then it wouldn't be like that. It would be, oh, they've left 3 heart emojis on every picture I've posted for the last 3 years. He did it. That was the limit. You know, I've been counting them. Now he's reached that, you know. And that's the thing. I think it's like, it's self-respect. It's like people, and it's actually like, obviously, again, super weird term and all that shit, but like this criticizing of what is objectively toxic masculine behavior is itself quite positive. They're telling people to stop with this unending chase, to stop like this weird, like self-debasing in the face of like no kind of like participation, right? It's like if it's all one-sided and you just won't quit it and you're kind of like pathetic, it's a thing to be totally stepping away from, and I'm glad that people are doing it.
The problem is, and the danger of like that mentality is that you then will have people who try to like weaponize it, of being like, oh, people are into people who have self-respect, but it's not self-respect. It's actually not giving people the time of day. It's playing hard to get. That's not being, it's like, you know what I mean? And then we get the whole obfuscation of, a whole new layer of toxic masculinity of people being like, oh, in order to be desired, you have to make sure that you put no effort into your relationship. If they
Yeah.
want you, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's that horrible goddamn spiral of the second we like crack open one nut, someone else is like,
Ooh.
but there's an even smaller nut in that one.
Yeah, well, I think it's like when we were growing up, like the term whipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's now simping, I guess. So it's like you're gonna have people be like, "Oh, he's fucking whipped," when they're just legitimately being a decent partner, or like, "Oh, this guy's a fucking simp," and it's like, no, he's just being nice to someone, you know? Yeah, you're right. There's always gonna be people who swing so far that like they think any kind of consideration is simping.
I mean, look how like negging progressed. There is something to be said about having like flirty banter in which you're kind of like mean to each other in a joking way. And then seduction rolls in and is like, you got to treat women like shit. Insult their shoes.
Well,
Tell them their hair looks
was
bad.
that-
It's like, well,
Did negging ever start that way? Because I thought negging was always very specifically like you insult to like draw them in or whatever.
I think its origin started from like, if you like pretty much literally anyone I've ever been romantic with and that I've met like without previously knowing, like anyone I've met at a bar, I will definitely tease them about things. You know what I mean? The same way, like if someone orders a fucking, Jaeger and Sprite at a bar, if a woman orders that next to me, I'm going to make fun of them from it because that's disgusting. And like, that's not negging, you know, that's fun banter. And I think seduction and pickup artists noticed that was successful because it's a fun, like, way to like break the ice and a fun way to sort of like let your guard down and kind of, haha, I'm gonna poke you back.
They just
and they were like,
bastardized it massively.
yeah, it's negging. You have to
And missed the
insult them.
point.
Because like, yeah, if you look from a distance, I just insulted her drink choice, and it might not go well. Maybe, you know what I mean, depending on the person.
Yeah, but
so
if
like
it's a Jaeger
from a
and Sprite, they
bystander,
do deserve it.
they do deserve it 100%. But from like, someone who's clueless on how to interact with human beings, from their point of view, watching, it's like, oh, that man just insulted her and now they're talking, so that must be the way to do it. And I feel like this is how it's going to sort of like backswing with simping, where people are going to be like, oh, women don't want simps, so I have to put no effort in. It's like, well, okay, your go, I guess.
Yeah, I guess like for anyone else confused about what's happening here, it's like people are just debasing themselves for possible gratification at some point, whether it be sexual or relationship or whatever. And it's like they're people who haven't learned to take a hint and are then just unceasing and, I guess pathetic. So it's like, yeah, of course they're being criticized for that. Like, there's nothing wrong with being nice to someone and, but it needs to be reciprocated and it needs to be not this one-sided, like, eternal chase. So it doesn't seem like a mystery to me why people would not applaud men for that. All right, you going?
Yes. I think this is kind of a long-ish question. Not really, but I think it's got a very, very short answer.
Okay.
This comes from Sparkly Butterfly. My guy friend, 20-year-old male, has feelings for me, a 20-year-old female, and I don't know what to do. I have a guy best friend, and a few months ago he asked if he could kiss me, but I said no initially, but after a few weeks I kissed him because I felt like it. But later he started touching me at places I didn't want to be touched at. Even after saying no multiple times, he forced himself upon me. Yesterday he told me he had feelings for me, and he wanted me to become his girlfriend because he said I was his dream girl, but I didn't want to say yes because he is really toxic. Even in the friendship, because he would tell me what to wear and not to hang out with the losers and try to control everything in my life. He would get pissed off at the dumbest things. Once I was on a video call with him and he told me to strip, and I said no, and he got really pissed. I just don't know what to do. Somebody please give me some advice. P.S. He's my only friend in college, and losing him would make me a loner.
Yeah, a loner's better than hanging out with this douchebag.
Right?
Like, he's a garbage friend, let alone everything else. And like, oh my God, there's so much wrong. The fact that you said no and he fucking forced himself on you, like, hey, that's a crime,
Yeah.
The fact that he would tell you to strip and get pissed, especially when you guys are friends, like, this is an always shit thing, but like, that would be a terrible boyfriend. You know what I mean? This is an even worse friend. Like, I don't...
Yeah, the idea of like, asking your friend, like, I can't imagine being on a video call with my friend and being like, hey, take your clothes off. Like someone in which I've never had, there was no like romantic or whatever. I mean, I guess they kiss, but like that doesn't give you permission to do any of this.
Also, we don't even know if that happened before or after.
Yeah, it's so bad. Also, can I just
You
go
shouldn't have
through
kissed the
the
guy.
like?
Definitely shouldn't have kissed the guy.
But again, it's like we're not going to victim blame here. You know what I mean? Like
No,
she
not
wanted
at
to
all.
kiss him,
Just like, yeah, I guess. I wonder why,
right? Like
but okay.
she wanted to kiss him. I mean, like the dude is.
I'm not victim blaming. I'm not saying she deserves these things
Yeah,
because
no,
she
I
did what
know.
she did. I'm just saying she should not have, which I think we can all agree. This person is
Yes,
not worth it.
you're saying you're a loner. Do you think it's because he's telling you not to hang out with the quote unquote losers to keep you
Oh,
isolated so that
100%.
you are his only friend?
That's the thing.
Hmm.
He's
I,
legitimately manipulating you to the point where he is your only thing. Because presumably that's the only reason you're still fucking friends with him. That's like if you had the option to hang out with these people, when he's gone, you're going to have that option again. And I can tell you, being by yourself is going to be immensely better than this because it seems to be only escalating. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
yeah, and unfortunately, I'm going to tell you right now, the likelihood of the second you say, "Hey, you're kind of a shit person, and I don't want to hang out with you," or whatever, however means you end this friendship, he's probably going to say some stupid bullshit about you. I could almost guarantee you, he's going to be like, "Oh yeah, she blew me in the bleachers. Oh yeah, she's this, she's that. Oh yeah, blah blah blah," as a means to hopefully further isolate you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, this guy didn't like you stripping, or didn't flipped out when you wouldn't take your clothes off for him. He's not going to like being told that you don't want to be his friend anymore. And he's probably going to do something fucking shit. So I would say be prepared for that. I don't know how,
Mhm.
but like, hopefully you haven't sent him any sexy photos or nudes or anything that he can weaponize against you. There's also, if there's like on campus security, maybe let them know and be like, hey, I've been having trouble with someone. I'm going to be breaking off. Maybe don't necessarily mention him if you don't want to, exacerbate the situation, but letting an authoritative figure know that, like, should the worst happen, you've got your bases covered.
Mhm. And like no harm getting their number if you live on campus or even for when you're on campus. Like I think what Dane's saying is in being prepared is always a good thing. Hopefully if it's university, like there isn't that same kind of like intimate rumor mill network that like high school tends to have. So like
Mhm.
hopefully his ability to spread shit is going to be limited. But like just avoid him. Don't continue this friendship because again, even if for some reason you are completely alone for the rest of your university, you're going to be so much better off than being with this fuck. So go places he won't be, make new friends, and hopefully he will move on to some other victim because this guy is a piece of shit. And by that,
Alternatively,
I'm sorry, that's an awful thing to say. I mean, hopefully he will leave you alone. I obviously don't want him to find anybody else and be awful for them. That came out so wrong.
alternatively, start making friends now. Go hang out with the losers that he didn't want you to hang out with, and hang out with them, and sort of like give them a heads up. Be like, hey, just so you know, it's like there's this shit dude who I'm probably going to end my friendship with, and might say some terrible things about me. You know what I mean? Like, you might not have to go that heavy, but like certainly start amassing a friend group now before you do it, so that should he try to turn people against you, you've already got people who've got your back.
But yeah, just be careful, but don't stay in this awful situation because that's what, as Dane said, he's actively doing. You know what I mean? He's manipulating you so you have nowhere else to go and no one else to
Yeah.
confide in. Like he's trying to make himself your everything so that you kind of have to do what he says and stick around, which is fucked. But this person is a scumbag and you need to get out.
Yeah, he's literally using the abuser's playbook,
Yeah.
page by page.
Your safety and your mental health are paramount over everything else. This person is not going to be good for either of those things. So be safe, but get away from them.
And that is going to bring us towards the end of the show. But before we wrap up, we like to jump on some online dating platforms like Tinder, Bumble, and Hinge, and peruse online dating profiles and figure out what works and what doesn't work in an effort to make your online dating experience a little more enjoyable.
Ready for Ivy?
Yes.
Yes, like the poison. Kiss emoji. Voted most likely to ice you on the first date. You've been warned. Culinary industry professional works in the finest of fine dining, can transition seamlessly from dinner service to a date and back again. Slightly bratty, black coffee, white flowers, and love letters.
You know what? I kind of like this. I don't hate it. I don't think the only thing that really like pinged for me was kind of bratty, but
Yeah, right?
that could be, so bratty is also like a kink thing.
term.
So that could just be a little sort of like tip of the nose kink sort of thing.
I hope so. I worry it isn't.
But I mean, like, even if it's not, I don't think it's enough for me to like really be like, avoid this person at all costs. So I'm going to give it a 6.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Although when they say most likely to ice you after having just just mentioned poison, do they mean murder or do they mean Smirnoff Ice icing? Who knows?
I hope Smirnoff icing.
I'll give it a 6 as well.
This is Aaliyah, young successful entrepreneur that learned to be more than one source of income after the pandemic took most of our jobs and salary cuts, living happily and more independently. Proud of my achievements made through hard work and also working smart through innovation smart apps and also real life investment and shares that generate healthy revenue. I'm young, I'm financial free, I'm independent woman, decider of my life. Don't we all want the freedom that comes with multiple sources of income?
This is a fucking crypto bro pretending to be a girl to get you to invest in his Dogecoin.
It's so fucking weird. I'm like, are you making like a LinkedIn investor profile? Or are you making a dating profile? What the fuck are you talking about?
I will bet you 100% this is just some way of like, oh yeah, come join my crypto thing. Like, it's not a dating profile.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe it is like a catfish sort of.
Oh, 100%. It gets a 1.
Yeah, I'm also giving it a 1.
I'm not even, like, there's no doubt in my mind this is some kind of crypto catfish thing. This is Rebecca. Is anyone else getting weird ads for like saran wrap on here? Someone normal, please talk to me. I have dogs.
That's an excellent question. I haven't seen fucking saran wrap ads. Also, a very strange thing to advertise on a dating platform. Like,
yeah,
I don't like that one bit. But I will say, isn't really a good dating profile. So I'm going to give this a 3 because there's nothing there that gives me personality.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of boring and I don't understand, like, is the most important or exciting thing about you that you got saran wrap ads? Like,
and dogs? Like,
and you have
that's the
like,
other thing is like,
okay. Like, I love dogs, but I'm not going to fucking hook up with someone to get to their dogs.
That's the thing is like, a lot of people do. So like, I would rather go with the people who have personality and have interested me in some way that also have dogs. If that's really like a deal breaker for me, is like must have dogs.
Yeah, I just don't understand.
You're capable of telling me what ads you see. That's all I need. So yeah,
it's
maybe that's
super
3.
bland. Yeah, 3 because it's bland but not offensive.
Yeah. This is Caroline. Families stay together from this day to the end of our days.
Fast and Furious?
I have no fucking idea.
Fast and Furious?
Although it says families, and they only deal with family.
Shit, yeah, there's only the one. Damn it, I was almost ready to like it. Yeah, that's gonna be a fucking 2. Because, like, not everybody has the luxury of having a supportive family. And also, that gives me nothing about you.
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, Caroline. I'm sorry.
Like, it feels like, at best, you're a little ignorant and, like, boring. Because this, again, is there's no.
Mm-hmm.
And we got E. Looking for a serious relationship. Communication, respect, and loyalty is very important to me. I can only date someone with a university degree with interest in working out and healthy lifestyle. I don't have kids, but I want to have them in the future, as well as pets. I can't date a man who is divorced or has kids. I'm an extrovert, love animals. 1.6 meters long. I am not religious, and I can't date a religious person. Politic, right. Only non-smokers. Thanks, no to egoists, narcissists.
Strange that they're not religious but refuse to date a divorced person. Because, like, what other reason do you have
I guess
to not date someone? I guess, but how old is this person?
35.
Yeah, you think you're gonna find someone who's 35 that doesn't have baggage? And by that I mean like who doesn't have traumas from previous relationships? Being married does not absolve you from, or not being married doesn't absolve you from relationship based trauma.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Also, like, it half reads like a job degree or a job description, like, oh, need someone with a university degree. It's like, really, like, it's a really strange thing to base this on, because you could have a bullshit degree, you could have a very high degree, or you could have no degree, and there's probably not going to be any difference between the 3 people. I've met people who've never been to university that fucking rock. I know a bunch of people who have degrees who are dumb as shit. So...
yeah, man. One of the smartest people I've ever met in my fucking life was a line cook that I used to work with at a sports bar. And he dropped out of high school. He was so fucking smart. And also just like a really good person as well. So like the sort of like random or arbitrary desire
Elitist
of being like,
bullshit.
I need a university degree for what? For
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna
I
be a
will
1 as
say,
well.
I love that instead of saying they're 1.6 meters tall, they say 1.6 meters long. That was
Yeah.
very funny to me. Yeah, it's like a 2 again.
This is June. Looking for sexy, rich, well endowed. I wonder if we can have some fun.
It's actually January. That's it?
Another joke Tumbler loves.
Yeah, true.
Hey,
It's just super boring. It's like, great. Okay, cool.
For me, June, you're asking for a lot. You're asking for sexy, rich, and well endowed. And you don't know if we're going to have fun? You got to offer something, June. If I'm sexy, rich, and well endowed, you better be like, we'll have some fun. Not like, oh, I wonder. We might be able to. Maybe we will. It's like, sorry, June, what are you bringing to the table? If not the promise of fun.
Have you heard of the female dating strategy 666 approach?
No, is that just selling your soul to the devil?
Effectively, it's that the thing they put out where they're like, you should only date a man who's over 6 feet, makes 6 figures, and has over 6 inches. And like they got torn. It's still perpetuating itself in that hellhole of a sub, but everyone was like, "Are you insane?" Like, one, you're like, there's very few people that are going to match that description, and probably none of them want you guys because you're the most toxic garbage people.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the kind of person that would want that. It's super boring and bland. And it's like, cool, you want that, but what about you? What about you? Do you have dogs? Do you get ads for saran wrap?
Let me tell
I don't
you,
even
their
know.
profile only had one picture, and it was just like of them from behind. No, like you have no idea what they look like. Don't really know what their body type is. So it's like, again, you're asking a lot,
And you're giving
really
nothing.
offering nothing. Yeah. So this is gonna be my 0 of the day.
Yeah, I'll give it a 1 just because some of the others were pretty garbo as well, but it is pretty garbage. This is Victoria. Teacher, translator, tutor, graduated magna cum laude. Therefore, I consider intelligence to be immensely attractive. Oxford in the streets, Urban Dictionary in the sheets. Mommy raised me to be praised on my intelligence, not my appearance. I play every sport imaginable. I dance like Beyonce and cook like Betty Crocker. Likely the silliest girl you'll ever meet. I laugh a lot, mostly at my own jokes.
Man, there are some things that I really like about this, and then other things where I'm like, I'm not sure. Also, isn't Betty Crocker like all in boxes? Like, isn't that the whole Betty Crocker thing? Is it all just like, or is it like? I guess I don't really know anything about the woman it's named after.
Yeah, I assume they were like a cook, and their food is the stuff. You know what I mean? It's like their brand isn't necessarily what they cook.
I appreciate the confidence. I like that sort of thing, but the constant bringing up of intelligence and how smart they are, and how like they need to be sort of like worshipped for this intelligence gives me some real strong elitist vibes that I don't love.
I also feel like if you are secure in your intelligence, you don't have to mention it so many times in a dating profile. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's very weird. It's like if I was like, I'm attractive, and as an attractive person, blah, blah, blah. Also, it's like I graduated, therefore I consider intelligence to be immensely attractive. It's like, okay, not really, therefore. Like, you do or you don't. It doesn't matter how you graduated, you know?
Yeah, it really strikes me as like the people who want to like really be known that they travel a lot, and every second, like every chance they get, they mention like, oh, that reminds me of this one time when I was in Brazil. It's like, we get it. I used to work with someone who like lived in Jamaica for 2 months or something, and no matter what you said, it was like, oh, when I lived in Jamaica, it's like, I'm talking about fucking cutting lemons. Like, fuck off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like if this was anything, I think it would be a red flag. Like, oh, super funny, therefore I find humor, whatever. I'm the funniest person you'll meet. Like, we'd be like, okay, we get it. Shut up. However, Oxford in the streets, Urban Dictionary in the sheets. That's wonderful.
Very good.
That's
wonderful. Very, very good.
So
that's what I mean.
That goes
and like
back
the
up.
other thing of being like, oh, I dance like Beyonce. It's like, great. I like that confidence. I want you to feel like you're the pinnacle of whatever you are. Great, cool. But again, like the whole elitist vibe, I'm gonna put it at a 5 because I don't think it's enough for me to say no, but it stops what could be a very good profile from being great.
Yeah, I would be hesitant, but curious.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not good to be kind of like walking on eggshells, because I feel like I would be like, I'd be waiting for the elitism, right?
Yes, I'd be ready for like the eye roll if I said something, or if I used a word incorrectly, or if I, said that a place was in the wrong country. I feel like I would get,
or the opposite,
like
like the fear of having to be like, oh, like you don't want to be that guy who's like, actually, that's incorrect. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be sure which way it would go. Probably both, or just people who use big words for no reason, Anyway, I think it would be middle of the road 5, like a cautious approach. And that's going to be it.
That's going to do it. Friends, that is our show. Thank you very much for listening. If you have questions that you would like to send in and for us to answer, and let me tell you, I'd way rather answer your guys' questions than have to troll through Reddit to find them. Please head on over to fbuddiespodcast.com, click the contact form, fill it out. You can choose your agent name. We'll give you one if you don't. We keep things completely anonymous, so you can bare your souls to us and know that we will never let anyone know any of your secrets. If you'd like to support the show, same website, fbuddiespodcast.com, click the Patreon link and join the show. Support us a little bit. It helps keep the show running. It helps let us do other things, pursue other projects. And at the $7 tier, you get an extra episode every month called Pillow Talk on the topic of other projects. We have a new show out called No Quest for the Wicked. You can check it out at noquestcast.com. It's a Starfinder actual play podcast, which is us playing essentially Dungeons and Dragons in space. I tell the story. Niall and 2 of our very good friends are players in it, and they are absolutely incredible. It's a lot of fun. We're just starting a new thing where every week this month of February, we're releasing an episode every week instead of every 2 weeks. So now's a great time to jump on the No Quest train.
Yeah. Like some people who haven't listened to D&D and haven't even played the game before have been kind of like reaching out, and they're like pleasantly surprised that it ends up kind of like coming across more like a radio play than needing kind of any in-depth knowledge on anything else. So it is essentially just like a narrative that's a little bit improv. We roll some dice, which can, let me tell you, really spice up the story when they fuck us over. Dane's done an incredible job. It's a blast. And I think you guys will enjoy it. And you get to meet 2 of our very close friends and expand your boy circle. That sounds wrong. Either way, come expand your boy circle with us. Also, we have a Patreon. If you want to go support us on that, we would love that. And you'll get extra stuff like Pillow Talk, which I think, did you mention? I might go crazy. You did just mention, didn't you?
Yeah.
And we're actually about to go record that now. So we might be a little loopy because we've just going from one recording to the other. It always knocks a few edges off. We're loosed up. You know what I mean? We're fucking bendy. We're flexible. So if you want to see us all looped up and ready to go, expanding our boy holes, I'm going to stop.
Why is it holes?
Oh, shit. I'm Niall Spine.
Stop it. Thank our good boy.
Oh, thank you, Tumbler. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their song Paper Stars.
Do you have some bad sex writing for us?
I do. And this one comes in at a review from a restaurant in Edmonton.
Okay. Unexpected.
I want to read out this fucker's name, but I won't. So it's a 1-star review. And they say, I saw one of the waitresses from here at the Canadian Brewhouse tonight. Not professional to be attending other restaurants during COVID. Also, she ignored me when I tried to talk to her. Customers should be treated better, even when you're not at work.
It's true. It is very, very true that especially as a bartender, I know this. If someone I serve sees me out in the wild, I do have to continue serving them in whatever they ask for.
Mm-hmm. Also, this person who skips from restaurant to restaurant, that's fine. But this person who works at one, how dare she go to a restaurant? How dare she? Not professional. I should be allowed to harass her wherever she is. Also, sorry, she didn't ignore him. She basically ignored him, is what he said. So I'm sure, like, a polite hello. She wasn't. Yeah, I'm sure it was like what you would probably do. In fact, probably more than you need to do to someone you fucking served at your place once. So if the person who did this review is listening, fuck you, dude. Fuck you a lot. You dumb shit. The fuck's wrong with you?
Suck. My name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
We've been your fuck buddies.
Go expand your boy holes.